Hello everybody, hope you're all happy and well. I haven't been on for a long time, I do apologise, and I really do apologise about me breaking my promise of posting my story Ladies at Lunch. I've done a lot of work on it and the bulk of the story is done. We've met at the pub and we're having a fine old time. I just can't bring it to an end. Everybody who wanted to be in it is in it. You're all named and you know, that part's all done, the hardest bit. I just can't bring it to an end. So as soon as I get a spark of inspiration, which just is not happening for this particular story, it's never happened before, I will finish it and post it for you, I promise. Today's story is about flatulophobia, which is a little known phobia, but one that I suffer with myself and I have done for many years. And some of you may have heard of it, some of you may suffer from it and not know that you suffer from it. So I'm hoping that this is going to raise awareness. It's a fear of farting, and that can be a fear of farting oneself or being around somebody that is going to fart or has farted. Smelling a fart, it's awful, and it sort of brings feelings of panic and you feel quite unwell and get very anxious. Also I have the same fear but of burping. My friends that know me very well will be aware of this and they'll know that I've suffered for years. And it can sort of affect your life. And going back a few years, I went for a lovely girls' weekend in Dublin with some close friends, and we'd booked a trip to the Guinness factory. Very excited, great, and the whole day, that day was just ruined for me because I was following my very good friend up a flight of stairs, and she was in front and I was behind, so in very close proximity to her bottom, and she farted. Not just a small fart, a huge fart, and I was beside myself, to be honest. Couldn't look at her for the rest of the day. Ruined the whole Guinness factory experience. I've not been able to even look at Guinness since, so it can affect people. I haven't named the particular person, but she is in this group, so she will know. And I'd just like to let her know how that experience has affected me. And as I say, I used to enjoy a pint of Guinness, but not anymore. Anyway, so yes, I will get on with today's story and I hope you enjoy. I would like to just warn people that if you are offended by farting or the mention of farts, just switch off, don't watch this because it does contain a lot of fart references. And also I've changed my mind. I was going to use the word arse, but I didn't think that was appropriate because small children might watch this. So I've reverted back to bum because I think that's better, really. It's not as harsh as arse. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Some people are unaware that flatulophobia is a real problem for some. For me, the phobia started way back when I was very young. Early childhood experiences created my fear, and as a result, anyone burping or farting, I cannot be near. I would like to share my short story of an old lady who, through no fault of her own, has unwittingly created a dreadful phobia in someone who innocently came to help her in her own home. My story is about Nellie. She is very old and lives on her own, which is just as well. Nellie suffers from terrible wind, which can often result in a terrible smell. One morning in May, she woke very early. She had a very odd but familiar feeling inside her belly. Full of trapped wind once again was poor Nellie. As the wind built up inside her, a surge of long and loud farts were being blasted out at rip-roaring speeds. The ferocity was concerning. Nellie hadn't experienced such force before. She called for the doctor. She was very worried indeed. "Hello, Dr. Shatanaker. It's Nellie from Tippletree Lane. Please, can you come quickly? I'm in so much pain. I'm in absolute agony with a swollen and sore tum, and uncontrollable foul farts are firing ferociously out of my bum." Nellie waited for hours for the doctor to arrive. The farting had finally started to ease. But feeling drained and in pain, Nellie had fell to her knees. Dr. Shatternacker arrived and burst through the door. He was quite taken aback at the sight that he saw. Poor Nellie sobbing and writhing around on the cold kitchen floor. "Goodness me, Nellie, what are you doing down there?" "Oh, please help me, doctor. My belly is so sore and I feel like I'm filling up with hot air." Her belly had become very bloated as she filled up with trap wind down below. The doctor peered in closely, very concerned. Nellie looked like she was ready to blow. Dr. Shatternacker was panicking. He felt like running out the door. He had never experienced anything quite like this before. He knew he couldn't leave Nellie. That would be quite wrong. But he was finding it extremely difficult to cope with the horrendous pong. He couldn't leave Nellie. She looked so frail and old. Dr. Shatternacker was very worried. Her belly was growing bigger. She looked like she was about to explode. Nellie stopped moving. She went very still. The doctor examined her. She felt very hot, and he thought she looked frightfully ill. Nellie's face slowly turned a deep shade of red. Her belly had grown to the size of a hot air balloon. The situation was now critical. The gas inside her would be released very soon. The gas continued to build up inside her. It had been building all day. Dr. Shatternacker knew it was time. It was time for him to get out of the way. Nellie let rip. A long and loud fart started to flow. It was such a relief for poor Nellie to let that gas go. Dr. Shatternacker couldn't quite believe the noise or the smell. The poor man himself had turned very pale and was now starting to feel rather unwell. Nellie was face down on the floor with her bum pointing up in the air. The poor doctor staggered across the room holding his nose and slumped over the back of an old kitchen chair. The fart came to an end and Nellie lay exhausted on the cold floor. So relieved it was all over, she couldn't have coped with much more. Relieved and thankful that the gas had all gone, Nellie was left feeling quite ashamed. She realised her house had been filled with an eye-watering pong. Poor Dr. Shatternacker had completely passed out from the terrible smell Nellie had made. He had fallen off the chair and now flat out on the floor the poor doctor laid. Nellie knelt beside the doctor and slapped his pale face. He opened his eyes, got to his feet, grabbed his bag and ran straight out of the stinking place. Dr. Shatternacker stumbled into the garden, gasping, retching, grateful to be finally breathing lovely fresh air. The weather was dreadful. It was pouring with rain. He was soaked to the skin, but he just didn't care. As soon as the doctor had recovered and was able to breathe, he jumped in his car, wound down his window and zoomed off at high speed. Poor Dr. Shatternacker never fully recovered from the trauma of that day and now suffers from flatulophobia, a fear of farting. This condition is real, so please be kind to those sufferers who may be around you and move away from them quickly should you feel a fart starting. I suffer myself with this particular fear, and I can confirm that feelings of panic set in if someone farts while I am near. My phobia was made worse on a weekend trip to Dublin, when a friend actually farted very close to my face. Some of my friends, I can tell you, and one in particular, is an utter disgrace. I am setting up a support group, a safe haven, for fellow sufferers of this unfortunate fear, and I can assure you all that any inconsiderate or selfish farters will not be allowed anywhere near. Hope you enjoyed my story. I look forward to bringing you some more. I'm going to be updating a few of my Christmas stories and posting them in December, and I will keep working on my Ladies at Lunch. See you all soon.